Good evening. My name is Tanu Vermani. I'll be your examiner today for the IELTS speaking test. Can you please tell me your full name?
My full name is Ketan Kumar Kiran Kumar Purohit. You may address me by my first name, Ketan.
Can I see your identification?
Yes, here is my passport. I used to register for my exam.
Let's talk about reading books. Do you enjoy reading books?
Yes, I enjoy a lot. Even I read books twice a day.
What kind of books do you usually read?
Well, as I am science student, even I have just completed my Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. So I usually prefer to read science fiction um, books as well as comic books.
When do you usually read?
I usually read in evening because I have hectic schedule for whole day. So I prefer to read in the evening time.
Would you like to read more books in the future?
Well, I will not say I read a lot abundant books in the future because I would say that so if I have time to read books, then I read books a lot. Otherwise, it is not planned yet that I read books in the future.
What was the first book you read?
Well, I read comic books when I was a child. I vividly remember it was rainy season. At that time, I read books.
Now I'm going to give you a topic. You will have 1 minute to prepare, and then you need to speak for 1 to 2 minutes. You can also make notes if you wish. If you want to book your one-on-one speaking test with me, so बेबी कोड एप्लीकेशन को डाउनलोड करो या फिर आप वेबसाइट पे जाकर भी बुक कर सकते हो अपने टेस्ट को। शॉप सेक्शन में जाओ, स्पीकिंग इंटरव्यू विद द टीचर, अपने स्लॉट को बुक करो एंड गिव योर स्पीकिंग टेस्ट। अगर आपको अपनी राइटिंग इवैल्यूएट करानी है तो अपने राइटिंग टास्क 1 और टास्क 2 को शॉप सेक्शन में जाकर अपलोड करो और रियल एग्जाम टीचर आपको देंगे डिटेल करेक्शंस प्लस अ फीडबैक। Please start speaking now.
Well, there are several times I read the books, but here I would like to talk about a particular book that I read yesterday. I have completed many science books, yet I would say that I am interested in reading science fiction books because as they are interesting as well as they create suspense drama as well. For example, I I and people also do not aware for science experiment as well as which substance include in the experiment as well as how they create drama. I will say that. So those type of things are avid for making experiment me as well as reading more books as well. Apart from this, I would say this book was quite interesting according to me because I found that there are many subjects that I read. It will be beneficial for me in the future because by this I read how to manage time in particular subject or in particular criteria, as well as I would say that it it was create hypothetical situation that engage to people to make more suspense as well as more curious about experiments. Overall, I felt over the moon after the read books because by this book I learned a lot of lessons that I never forget in the future.
Why is reading important for people?
Reading is important for people, not only for enhance their knowledge, but also important for they engage people uh, with a beneficial way.
Do people read fewer books nowadays?
Of course, because people usually try to spend their a majority of time with their mobile phones or on mobile phones they usually searching uh, videos and in while in these days chat gpt comes in people's life so people usually try to searching their information on chat gpt rather than reading books.
Should children develop reading habits from an early age?
Yes, because I consider that it was happened because people usually used to for their reading habits in the school as well as parents should be uh, take pressure on children's mind that you have to completed this book in the uh, particular time of period as well as I would say if uh, people if children if child interesting in reading books at that time they usually want to learn more reading books as much as they can.
Are ebooks better than printed books?
Uh, in certain extent, I would say, because ebooks are quite important for individuals' life when they are searching useful information, uh, as well as it is convenient for individual. But I would say that reading printed book it's also beneficial for individual, and it is people ought to uh, read printed books as much as they can.
How can schools encourage students to read more?
Well, there are several ways to do these things, but I would say one pivotal thing is that people encouraged by government, for example, some strict rules are implemented by government that uh, help may be beneficial for individual because these days people usually try to read uh, e-books so people lose their concentration their uh, as well as their uh, imagination power so that encourage uh, by government people encouraged to read printed books.
Will books always remain important in the future?
Of course, because it is mandatory that people usually try to read uh, e-books because it, books are quite important in people's life because I think that it make long lasting impression on individuals rather than they watching videos on YouTube and any other website.
So that is the end of your speaking test. Thank you so much. Let me just give you a quick feedback and the entire you can have on your total. I can see that you're able to communicate throughout the entire test, but uh, your answers in part one are really short. Yes, I enjoy reading. You were there in yesterday class. I was telling you try to paraphrase the question, do not pick up the same one. Add extra detail. Like you need to extend your answer. Your answers are very short in part one also. Part two, you created a story, but there was a repetition. There was a frequent repetition of the word as well as. I guess you spoke many times this. Then part 3 also, you try to answer of course, because, which is a wrong sentence structure. So when you want to say of course, then you have to try to create a new sentence. You cannot start with because. Okay. Then there was self correction also. If people, if children, if child. So you decided thrice that what you will pick up. In certain extent, it is to certain extent. Question number, there was a question I was asking about how can schools encourage student to read more? And you answered in the favor of people individual. They're asking particularly about students. How can schools encourage students to read more? So schools, they can organize some reading competitions. They can establish the well-equipped libraries. They can recommend some interesting books that will match the students' interest. And in that way, they can encourage students to read more. You need not to talk about only individuals or people. You have to mention specifically about students. Because if you're going to answer in a different way, your answer is not a relevant answer, it's an irrelevant answer. Then again, in the last question, will books always remain important in the future? And you said, of course, because. So that is not a correct way. Okay.
Okay,
Try
okay.
to
Thank you.
improve, try to work on the vocabulary more, try to work on the sentence structure more. Okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay, then keep on practicing, keep on speaking. Bye. Thank you.